Our next guest is a freshly reelected United States Senator from a state that legalized cannabis just in the nick of time. Please say hello to Senator Cory Booker. Hello, Senator. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Congratulations.
I appreciate that. Rosario was a little concerned that pot might have done better than me in the last election. So,
you won. You didn't even have to sweat, did you? I mean, you won relatively easily.
There's only two ways to run for office: unopposed or afraid. And so, no matter what, you take it seriously. You go out and earn every vote. And I feel incredibly grateful to New Jersey for giving me this chance to.
But do you even remember who you ran against at this point, or is it just gone?
I do. I called them up on election night.
That must be fun to make that call, right?
You know what? We cannot lose our common humanity in all of this. We really can't. No matter how hard it is, I think having a private conversation with somebody and affirming, that we are fellow Americans is really important. So these are conversations all throughout my career that I'll never forget.
This is why I asked you to be on the show tonight, because you managed to be positive and to stay positive even through things that are not at all positive. And I admire that. I think that's a great way to live life, for sure. And it's probably why you got reelected so easily.
Yeah, well, look, I never want to be one of these people that says, oh, it's all sunshine and rainbow. It's not. We're in the middle of the fourth largest mass casualty event in American history. We have death rates rising. Our economy is on its knees with Americans. 40% of American families with children are food insecure, don't know where their next meal is going to come from. So, positivity is not ignoring those realities. In fact, I think being a positive energy speaks to them, but then decides that, I always say hope is the active conviction that despair won't have the last word, and recognizing what is the reality, but then deciding that despite that, I'm going to keep fighting, keep pushing, keep working.
Speaking of hope and despair, last night, I assume you were watching the returns and you were keeping an eye on the presidential election. You did a lot of work for Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, to help them win this race. Did you feel any sense did you get sick? Did you get nauseated? Or were you confident throughout that interminably torturous process of figuring out who voted for who where?
What I love about Joe Biden is, and they were very plain about what the process was going to be, that this was not going to be an election moment. It was going to be an election where counting all of the votes was going to take time. And I never saw their pathways closing off. I didn't have that very sick feeling I had in 2016, where I did see disappearing quickly pathways to the presidency. Now it just seems very clear to me, especially just listening to the rhetoric. Joe Biden's like, let's count every vote. I'm confident that we have a pathway. And Donald Trump is already, before the voting counting even stopped, the night was over, calling it rigged, trying to challenge the counting of the votes and really demonstrating who he is and how he's been for the last 4 years. So I am confident in Joe Biden's victory and his pathway there. I am excited that for the second election in a row where Donald Trump was on the ballot, millions of more Americans voted against him than voted for him. I'm excited that Joe Biden now will go down in history. He's more people have voted for Joe Biden now in this election, as of now, we're still counting votes, than in any election in the history of our country, including the last winner was Barack Obama in 2008. This was a resounding rejection of an incumbent president. We don't kick out first-term presidents that often. And so there's a lot to be affirmed on. But I think back to the point you were making earlier about our attitude as a nation, we still can't discount that Donald Trump, before the day's over, will still also have 60 million Americans that voted for him. And these people are not our enemy. They are, in fact, our brothers and sisters. They are people that we need. And we have to, in the road forward, really think about how we can be a part of a revival of civic grace and find ways to say, you know what, I'm going to stand my ground on healthcare. I'm going to stand my ground on raising the minimum wage and climate change. But it is not mutually exclusive from still going out and trying to find common ground in America, because we have a common pain right now all over our country, but we've lost that sense of common purpose. And the only way we've ever done big things, from mapping the human genome and going to the moon, is by bringing together those uncommon American coalitions, like Hidden Figures sitting with white male astronauts. We have got to find a way. I think our biggest challenge now is to put more indivisible back into this one nation.
That is going to be a very, very big challenge, for sure. You must know Donald Trump, living in New Jersey, and I would imagine that he's somebody you knew fairly well before all of this.
Very well. He was one of those folks that you couldn't not know, and as I came up in Newark politics and New Jersey politics, I learned a lot about him. And
so when he says something like Cory Booker is going to ruin the suburbs, does that hit you on a? I mean, and I assume you're not planning to do that, right?
No, I'm not.
Does that hit you personally? You go like, hey, you know me, you know that it's not going to happen.
Well, he's attacked such great Americans, from John McCain to Joe Biden, and to be even John Lewis, for crying out loud. He was attacking. So to be in that number of people that somehow occupied space in his mind, where he was tweeting about me and talking about me in the rallies, that's a good company to be in.
Will you visit him in prison?
Look, one of my favorite moments, I don't know if you heard this, but I ran for president last year. And one of my favorite moments in my campaign was in Iowa, running to the stage. Big guy sees me and goes, dude, I want you to punch Donald Trump in the face. And I looked at the guy and I go, dude, that's a felony. We are not going to beat him by being like him. He yells, lock people up. We do not. He wants to hijack this democracy, lurch us towards authoritarianism, lead by demeaning, degrading, and dividing. We have got to be light workers in this moment. We didn't beat Bull Connor because we became like him. We didn't bring bigger dogs and bigger fire hoses. We had these geniuses of activism, artists of activism, who expanded the country's moral imagination, and that's what we need right now. So God bless him. I'm so happy that he is in his final hours as president of the United States. He will be lame duck for weeks and then out. But the question is not about him. This has never been a referendum on who he is. This has always been a referendum on who we are. And we cannot let that man ever drag us so low as to indulge regularly in hate, even if it's hating him. We're better than that.
Recreational cannabis has been, you advocated for recreational cannabis becoming legal in your state. Will you celebrate that?
I want you to know there's somebody here.
Hi, Rosario.
I don't know what she was more excited to do, vote for me as a New Jersey resident or vote for marijuana. I don't know what's more popular.
I was sad not to be able to vote in California. There were such incredible and important propositions and measures to vote for, which passed, which I'm so grateful for. But when I came here and I got to vote for my man and I got to vote for marijuana.
Look at what a good-looking couple you guys are. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for being so positive. And you will help him drag us out of the White House if we must, right?
Jimmy.
Rosario, I know you will.
No, listen to me. Everything you're saying I always say, what a person says about another person is more a reflection of who they are than who they are.
That's right. I'm a monster.
You have been phenomenal. You have been 40 years of phenomenal. From your son's tragic healthcare challenges through this process, you have helped us laugh when we were hurting. You've helped us to heal through your humor. And I'm just so grateful for who you've been this last
Well, you're very kind. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Cory Booker, the new senator again. Rosario Dawson. We'll be right back with Gregory Porter. Hi, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. An evil wizard has trapped me inside this YouTube video. Click subscribe to help me escape.